Okay, I'll call this meeting to order, please. Should everybody please join us in the pledge of allegiance? Mr. Midkiff, could you lead us, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks everyone out with us this afternoon, this evening. I take it that no one has signed in. Is that correct, Jeff?
That's correct.
No one signed in. So, under presentations we have KK Matthews, middle school wrestling. Welcome out, KK.
Hello. Mr. Priestley, President Priestley, distinguished members of the board. I'm here with Jamie Stratton. We are in a situation where we have been involved with our youth wrestling program for quite a while. We actually have a wrestling room down here that we utilize from with the high school. And we have students who are now going into the middle school. And what we are asking is that in order for us to have, or for these students to participate in middle school wrestling, we wanted to make sure that we were compliant and maybe that we would have to have coaches for those students. I think we have probably 6 students that are wrestling right now for the youth league, and they will be moving up maybe into the 6th grade, and that constitutes middle school. So what we were asking the board, I'm just kind of cut to the chase. I know that everybody has other stuff to do. Is we were asking that maybe if the Board of Education could come up with a way where the kids from Duval, Hamlin, Guyan Valley, and Harts would be able to participate in middle school wrestling. I'm familiar with other situations that have happened in the past with girls track, different things like that. And this wrestling is a little different because as far as a team sport, there's not necessarily 15 people that compete. It's usually one person. So that's the situation that we're in. We are not asking for any masks, any supplies. We would like to utilize this room down here because most of these students have wrestled together for years, and it's just they're just in different schools. I've talked to several people about just having one middle school team in Hamlin, but I'm not really sure if the SSAC, if we could do that regarding the rules because of the type of sport that wrestling is. So I was just asking the board if we could possibly if you all could come up with a solution where we could actually have middle school wrestling in this county so our students could participate. The kids coming up from the youth league. That's it.
I think we all agree, KK, that any sport you need to build that start as they're younger and work their way up. But I just wanted to understand this now. You're wanting to utilize the same equipment that the high school that is used here
Yes,
now, like
yes.
mats and all that? It's
It's a lot easier. I mean, it's much easier. Rolling up mats and transporting mats, and that's very cumbersome. The students that are actually wrestling now, or actually wrestling in the youth league, we commute to Hamlin. It's convenient for us, and I think it's convenient for everybody in the youth league because we have a room. It's a good wrestling room for the kids to come down and it's very convenient when you don't have to roll up mats because of basketball and different things like that because it's wrestling takes place in the winter. That's just the nature of the beast.
Now, so you have the equipment taken care of and the facility to do it in. So as far as how many do you envision coaches from?
Just one per
Just
school,
one
if that's the way you would like to do it. I was actually talking about maybe Jamie. Jamie's wrestled in high school. He has his coach's card. He's taking the classes and everything. I think he's interested in actually coaching Hamlin if you all choose to have the position for a wrestling coach, middle school wrestling coach. I would be willing to do it at Duval if we have to do it that way. I'm sure that there's people that are willing to do it. We just want to we want the kids to be able to participate in middle school wrestling and to be sanctioned and to do things right, do things legal. I mean, we could take them down and let them wrestle, but it wouldn't necessarily, I don't think it would be legal. It's just the rule, I don't know, it's the SSAC rules and how they stipulate.
I think we're, probably most of us aren't as familiar with wrestling maybe as some of the other sports, but I'm trying to understand, so if all the 4 middle schools were involved, they would all come here, why would it be necessary to have 4 coaches?
I think it's the rules. It's because of the nature of the sport, where you have one student would be wrestling in, let's say, the 150-pound class, and he's in the 6th grade, or he's 12 years old, or whatever, and that is, he competes for that particular school. And it's kind of like if you have kids from Guyan Valley, if there's, let's say that there's 9 kids on a softball team, they can't necessarily merge with Hamlin. It's just it's the SSAC rules. It's different for wrestling because you only need one person instead of having a team where you necessarily would need 9 people for softball or baseball.
You say the season is in the winter, does it coincide or is it different from the high school wrestling?
No, it's basically it's the same season. Everything we would utilize. Everything would probably necessarily would work out the same way. Most of these kids from the youth league, it's the same students. It's not necessarily that we'll get new students. Probably don't get a whole lot of new students that come in to wrestle. It's a very tough sport. A lot of kids they don't like.
I mean, it's
like doing a lot of that.
I can see what everybody would want to throw them around, unless you run the other end. Okay, as far as when they do this, would there be a conflict like when they were practicing or whatever?
We would schedule that out. Yes.
And then when they actually had competition, where would that occur?
It would various places across the state. Middle school, yeah, different. There's middle school competitions that take place on Saturdays. Sometimes I don't think they have wrestling on Sundays in middle school, but usually it happens on Saturdays.
I mean, if we were to be participating in that, where would our kids wrestle?
Oh, you talking?
Yeah, I mean, would Duval have a match there?
No. What we would do is we would actually, the Duval, if they chose to participate in that wrestling match, let's say it's at Milton, then the kid, the parents from Duval would take their child to Milton to wrestle.
I mean, so they're all away? Is that
yeah, most of the time, yeah, they're away. We could house a match down here at the high school, at the Lincoln County High School, to raise money, different things like that. But we haven't really envisioned that yet because we don't have a coach. We don't have any coaches selected. But once we do that, I'm sure that we could possibly get a 15 or 16 team meet.
The high school does have.
Yes.
Is it one? How many times?
I think they have it twice a year, and the youth league we have a meet over here once a year. So we have, and there's a lot of people that come to these meets. Probably 500 parents, and or maybe 600 parents. I mean, it's all day. There's a lot of wrestlers. This is in the Kanawha Valley League, so this is just an extension. This is statewide.
Anybody else have any questions or anything you'd like to ask? I'd just like maybe, KK, if you could get back and just maybe either share with Trish or me or anybody for that matter, exactly what the rules are as far as, must every school have its own individual coach, or could they be merged?
I know it's my conversation with the SSAC when we were looking at track. One time we were talking about possibly combining Hamlin middle school students with Guyan Valley.
Right.
I was told at that time the track, just like wrestling and golf or tennis, are considered individual sports. And you can't combine students from schools to one and have one coach like what we're talking talking about here, it had to be a coach hired in each one of those middle schools. That was Gary Ray, SSAC.
And if you recall, when they came to us with the track proposal for Hamlin, we ended up, getting the information from each of the schools, and we actually posted, you all agreed to have that sport, and we posted jobs, and then only became enough students or whatever participated in Guy Valley, not even from Hamlin, and they're the ones that,
Remember, I think I was on board at that time.
when they came and made that presentation. But with this, it sounds like we would have to advertise at each of the middle schools for a coach, and then to see if there were students. Maybe they would survey them prior to.
President Priestley, we could ask for a policy change from the SSAC given our situation, I don't know, which would probably make it easier for Lincoln County and counties like Lincoln, because of it's diverse. I mean, it's different. This county's different than a lot of other counties where we have, our schools we have 4 middle schools and 1 high school, and just the proximity. If we could do something, do something like that, it would probably help other school systems out. And I don't know if they would consider that or not, maybe a waiver, I don't know. But it really doesn't matter to us, as long as we just want the athletes to be able to participate in middle school wrestling if they can.
So we could call and maybe inquire
I
about the waiver.
can make a phone call.
Let Jeff do that maybe, Katie, and we can go from there, but, because from what you're saying, track, it differs a little bit in that if there's one student there that wants to wrestle, then
Yeah.
conceivably they'd have a coach. For track, I think we have a minimum of a few, I don't remember quite what. Why don't we let Mr. Midkiff do that, inquire, see if we could possibly have any way of merging them at all, because we agree with you that, it would be good to build a program, and you gotta start from the bottom up like anything. And maybe after we know more, we can talk about some more.
I appreciate it. Thank you all.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for seeing me. Nice to see you.